Everyone knows AI can generate a video clip in seconds, but when teams try to scale that isolated trick into a reliable production pipeline, the reality is a fragmented manual mess. Creators find themselves starting from scratch every single week. They repeat the same competitor research, hunt for the same prompt frameworks, and string together disconnected tools to rebuild the wheel for every new project. This friction carries a heavy cost. When the workflow relies on ad hoc prompting, you get severe inconsistencies in brand identity, audience retention drops, and highly skilled employees waste hours acting as digital copy-pasters. The alternative is building a perpetual AI video production system. Instead of treating AI as a series of isolated utilities, this approach snaps those disconnected tasks together into a permanent three-tiered infrastructure. By replacing transactional prompting with a centralized intelligence repository, media production stops being a variable operational risk. It becomes a fixed, highly scalable asset. The foundation of this architecture is the database layer. This is where we securely store the exact truth of your brand and market. We start by mapping out the niche. We feed quantitative competitor metrics and deep audience psychology frameworks into specialized Notebooklm knowledge bases. This tells the system exactly what the viewer wants and what makes them click. We add models for hook retention and visual identity. We now have 6 intelligence layers funneling into one central master repository. Once processed, this research phase is permanently locked in. You will never need to rebuild this bedrock. Every future script or visual generated from this point forward automatically draws from this well, ensuring total alignment with your strategy without requiring manual human review. Above the database sits the logic layer. This is the central processing tier, where raw executive directives are cross-referenced against your established market foundation. The first component here is the story engine. This is an automated cognitive processor built as a custom Gemini Gem, and it is hardwired directly into those 6 Notebooklm databases. You hand the story engine a basic topic, an emotional angle, and a target runtime. It synthesizes those raw inputs with your audience research to output a tightly structured, highly calibrated voiceover script. That script feeds into a second processor called the asset generator. You give it the script, visual style, and audio duration. It maps out the production with mathematical precision, outputting parallel tracks of image, video, and timing prompts. By bridging raw ideas and final execution through these 2 engines, the logic layer entirely removes human guesswork and creative variance from the structural pacing of the video. The final tier is the rendering layer. This is where the algorithmic blueprints are physically converted into tangible, high-end media. First, we take the clean script parameters from the logic layer and run them through enterprise audio tools to generate a perfectly timed voiceover. Next, we feed the asset generator's exact prompt arrays into an image creation tool. This builds out the structural base frames for every single scene. Finally, these starting frames move into specialized generative video tools, animating the static images into smooth, cinematic motion sequences that match the intended pacing. The rendering layer functions as a closed-loop algorithmic factory. It takes the strategic intent passed down from the upper layers and instantly turns it into a premium, publishable corporate asset. Looking at this completed architecture, its value as an infinitely scalable enterprise engine becomes clear. You feed a single strategic topic into the top of the funnel, and the infrastructure reliably outputs an elite, perfectly brand-aligned asset at the bottom. This chart shows exactly how that impacts operations. As variable labor hours drop, consistent asset output rises exponentially. Your staff is no longer trapped pushing pixels or hunting for prompts. Their roles shift upward to macro-narrative direction and high-level quality control. By doing the heavy lifting to build this infrastructure once, the organization acquires a compounding intelligence asset. High-level media production is no longer a bottleneck. Competitive advantage belongs to the organizations that engineer their media production as permanent infrastructure, rather than relying on continuous manual human labor.